Alright, it is the end of a very, very long day, but we still got some work to do.
Yes, we do.
We do. So, Jada got her permit today. Yay! Alright, so she's one step closer to, you know, possibly getting something to drive around in when she's 16 years old. Hopefully.
Possibly,
hopefully. Okay, so this is the second part to our video, and what we're gonna do, what we did in the first part of the video was basically sew the bodice, sew on the lace, and we actually completed the first layer of the bottom piece. So what we have left to do is, well, I'll tell you what, we'll show you what we did so far. So here's the bodice. Bodice. Yes. Okay, so we need to know, is it bodice or bodice? Please tell us in the comments below.
Or if you like us just to say the boob part.
No, okay. It was the boob part. This was supposed to be the boob part.
Yes.
But no. So we want to, she can go with that, but I want to know what the actual name for it is. Bodice or bodice?
Or boob part.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what this part looks like on her. We did the root, we did the gathering on the bottom, the gathering on the top. We still have some cleanup work to do on it, as well as lay the trim on the very top of the lace. But we will show you right now what it kind of looks like on her so you can get an idea. Yeah. Oh, she gained some weight. It doesn't fit.
No, I didn't.
No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
That's not funny.
Okay, so that's kind of how the top is, and hopefully you can see that. Scoop. See? Alright, and it looks really pretty, and now what we have to do is do the bottom piece. Now, the way the bottom piece works are the, you know, the part that actually flares out on her, and this is it.
The part that makes it look like a princess dress.
Yeah. How this actually works is, this is the first piece. We've already sewn it, and I left the piece in the back for the zipper. And then what we'll actually do next is we'll do the slip ruffle that goes up under it. Now, the slip ruffle, unlike other slip ruffles or other, I'm not sure what the name of it for, but you can buy the skirt slip ruffles that come as a separate piece. This actually will sew onto the inside of the fabric, and it'll help it stand out. So we'll gather this, and I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll put it on the inside, and it'll make it stand out nice and poofy for her. And then from there we'll move on to lay the lace on top of it and then put it all together. So now that all that hodgepodge is out of the way, let's get started. Alright, so now it's time to do the slip ruffle. One thing that I forgot to do was the lining on the inside, and I was thinking that it was going to be time to put the lining in later, but actually I found out that we should have been put the lining in. So I had to go back, do some quick work, put the lining in, which is just sewn seam to seam. It's the same pieces as the bottom satin piece, so I just matched them up and sewed inside the seam to seam. Pretty simple. This is the little bit of a tricky part. Now here is the netting that we're going to use for the slip ruffle. It has 3 seams. It's 3 pieces. It has 3 seams, and the seams look like this. What I typically like to do when I'm doing gathering so that I make sure I get an even gather is I like to match my seams on my netting to my seams on my dress. Alright, so I have 3 seams on my dress, but the difference of the dress is that all of my seams are not even, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Alright, you have a seam here. And then you have a seam over here. Now this is the front piece, and it's a bigger piece than the back. So you can see from end to end, go to the other end, just how big this seam is. Alright, and then your other seam is in the middle. So what I'm going to do is basically divide the dress in half. I'm not even going to worry about this seam. I'm just going to match it. I'm going to treat this as a whole piece from this seam to this seam on the back. And I'm going to treat the front piece as a whole seam, which it is. Or a whole piece, which it is. So I am going to now get my netting. And we're looking at the dress as 2 pieces. So I'm going to start on one seam. And remember I told you, I don't know if you can see the seam here. That's the seam on the netting. I'm going to go all the way to the next seam, and that's one piece of netting. And then I'm going to do half of the next seam, and the way that I can tell half is usually when you buy any type of fabric, they fold it already, and they fold it in the middle of it. So the easy thing to do is find that crease mark, and that's the halfway point between the next piece. So I'm doing 1.5 pieces. All right, and the reason I'm doing that is because that'll divide the netting in half, so that when I gather it, I can gather half on one side of the seam and half on the other side of the seam. Does that make sense? If not, you'll see what I mean. We're back! I know we have been absent for a long time, and that is my fault because I have had extreme amount of things to do. And but we're coming to you with a video. Now let me start by saying that part of my delayance, is that a word, delayance?
No, it's another made-up word.
Okay, well, we're gonna use it, delayance. Part of my delayance was that the other footage that we did finishing the dress didn't come through. So what I want to do in this video is talk to you about the decorations that we used for her Sweet 16. Let her tell you how her Sweet 16 went, and then we will show you the dress, and then we'll finish the video off. I do have a couple of clips that I'll show you in just a few minutes from actually making the dress and finishing the bodice and all of that stuff, but I will actually explain to you how we did the rest of the dress. So let's get started. Alright, so what we're going to do first is let Jada really just talk about, it's been about 2 weeks now since the Sweet 16. It was on March the 8th, and that's really bad for me, just now getting this video done, but we digress. Anyway, what we're going to let her do is talk about how she liked it. So, go.
Well, to be honest, it was not exactly what I expected, but it was better.
Okay, I was going to say.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. Okay. I had so much fun.
Okay, good. Alright, so, that was quick. Anyway, what we'll do is, these are some of the centerpieces that we use, and believe me, I am all about saving money if I can. So what we did was we made little Sweet 16 centerpieces to go on her actual table and on her guest table. Here's one of the pieces that we used, and what I used was foam board. Trace the Sweet 16 off of trace the 16 off of the internet. I just got a picture off the internet, traced it, painted it, spray painted it, and with her colors, and then we drew the lace on it. So I will let you see this one. And we just made a little piece to put on it. If y'all are interested in seeing how I did any of this stuff, then I'd love to show you, but just let me know down in the comments below. We did a bigger one, and this went on her main table, and all of the pieces that you see, they were lace was laid on top of them, so all you really saw was the Sweet 16. You didn't see the base. The base was just used to help it stand up. So this went on her main table, and then on her guest tables, along with the Sweet 16, we also had these. And these had lace covered base that went with them, and I left those all at my work. But what we did with these, made these out of mesh. They're just mesh balls. If you turn them over, you can see the styrofoam in them. And all I did was got styrofoam balls, took mesh. What I used was these little pins that you can get for floral. And they're just little prong pins. They look almost like landscaping pins. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but they're little 2-prong pins. And all I did was just bunch up the mesh and put them on there. And I kind of I kind of went from black to blue to black to blue, and then on that one we went from black to white. This actually sat on her dessert table. And these sat on her main table. So that's what we did. Mesh balls. We did the Sweet 16. We had lace. You'll see some pictures of it, you know, in just a few minutes, like I said. But what we're going to get into now is actually what we did to make the rest of the dress. Alright, so here is the dress. And I'll just walk around it and let you see. Now we couldn't zip it up because it's on the mannequin and she's smaller than the mannequin actually is. So we just basically did this simply for show and tell purposes.
And so we wouldn't have to hold it up.
Yeah, true. And so we wouldn't have to hold it up. Well, look how beautiful the lace is. It was gorgeous in the light, just like we expected. We got our gathering piece in the middle, and you all saw some of that on the previous video, and you'll see that in a minute. But we gathered, I was able to finish the entire dress myself. The only part that I had to have help on, which was, again, I'd never done this before. So the zipper was the part that I took and had a seamstress at my job help me with that. But I say help because she did not do all of it. I can do it now. She taught me how to do it. And here's the beautiful dress. You will see in a minute just how gorgeous it was on her with her jewelry and her hair. And she did get an up style. Yay! Say yay! 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 Okay, so she went with what she originally wanted. It was an updo. Or was that what I wanted?
That was what you originally wanted.
Okay.
And I saw it and I was like, yeah.
Did you like it? Are you glad you made the decision?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Alright, back to the dress. No, I'm just saying. But that's the dress. What we'll do here in a second, I keep walking in front of the light, but what we'll do here in a second is just show you, I'll break it down for you as much as I can and show you how we did each part of the dress. But here's the look. Alright, so you all saw how we pretty much did the bodice part of it, and that was the section from here to here. We did gathering in here, and we did that horizontally, and then we did vertical gathering here. And I showed y'all how to do the gathering, so that part should be okay. Now, honestly, the rest of the dress was just gathering too, because you have 3 layers on this dress. Now, let me tell you where I made a mistake. I had never done this type of dress before, so I had never put lining in a dress. I've never done a dress before. Have I said that enough? But I hadn't done it, so I did not know that when you cut out your main pieces, and when I say main pieces, I mean anything that was satin, we should have also cut out the lining. Alright, now I did say before in the videos that the lining, it does not matter what color that you use, but you do need to sew the lining with your original base piece, which would be your original satin. So the bodice part should have had lining in it, as well as the bottom part. Now I found out at the last minute when I was reading through the directions, it said, oh, so do this and make sure that you put your lining in with it. And I was like, okay, well, when was I supposed to do the lining? So we had to go back and bootleg the lining. But I got it in on the bottom. I do not have it in on the top. Now, the way the lining works, I'm still trying to figure that out. But you basically, when you cut your main pieces, you cut your lining with your main pieces, with these pieces. So I had about 4 or 5 pieces up here that I should have cut lining with, as well as about 3 pieces on the bottom that I should have cut lining in. But that's what you do. And so when you sew your pieces together in your hems, and this is the hem, and you can see the little blue hem there, we should have also had your lining in there too. So hem should have been sewn with the lining, but what I had to do was go back and actually put the lining in after I had sewed my hems together. Alright, so we did the lining. Then after we got the lining piece on, and this is still just the bottom piece because I had to do the 2 pieces separately before I could join them together. Alright, so then after that we had to do her slip ruffle. And remember I told you all that's the piece that actually makes the dress stand out. Now with the slip ruffle was a little tricky because it didn't really have any guidelines for you to go by, but it told you about how far up, the pattern told you about how far up to do the slip ruffle so that it hung all the way down to the bottom. So that's what we did. We kind of just measured up, went all the way around the dress, and it required gathering too. I don't know if you can see the gathering, but it required gathering too. So we gathered it, sewed it on the dress, sewed it into the lining, and that is exactly how I actually found out that we had left the lining out, was when it told me to sew the slip ruffle to the lining. And I'm like, I don't have any lining. So I had to go back and put the lining in, then do the slip ruffle. After we got all of that done, first, we didn't add the lace yet. We joined I take that back. We did add the lace. Before we joined the top piece together, then what I did was took the bottom piece while it still was just satin, lace, and slip ruffle, and I added my gathering. Now, the gathering actually came in really when I joined the two pieces together. So as I was joining all of these pieces together and adding this, I was actually going around just tacking it to it. So I used my pen. Alright, so these are the straight pins that I was speaking of. You should know what a straight pin is, but I like the ones with a little tip on it. It makes it easier to grab out of the fabric once you finish with them. But basically what I did before I joined it to the top piece was went around and bunched all of my lace together, made me a nice little gathering so all my pleats were even and all my gathering was even. And then as I was going around the dress, before I joined it to this bottom piece, I just tacked it onto the satin. Once I got it tacked all the way around, and believe me, tacking it makes it so much easier because this lace, like we said before, was a pain in the butt to work with.
Yes.
It really was. You hear Jada saying, oh yes. It really was. So the easiest way to handle this, we found, was to take our satin piece, which the dress just looked like this before you put your lace on. That's it. Just plain Jane. Alright, so when we added the lace, went around, gathered, went around, gathered, went around, gathered. And I showed you all how to do your gathering stitch, a loose stitch, and then pulling it through. After we did that, we pretty much were done. We had already done our bodice. That piece came before, and then we joined the two pieces together. Boom, we were done. The only thing that I had left to do, like I told you all, was the zipper. Now, she helped me a lot with the zipper because I was all about, oh, as long as it looks good on the outside, it's okay. She actually taught me, no, it needs to look just as good on the inside. So, what she did was, to make up for not putting the lining in, what we did after we sewed on the zipper, or before we sewed on the zipper, was we put a little lining of our own in there. Alright, just to make it look nice and flush on the inside. And the reason you want lining is because so it won't scratch you against your skin. Did it scratch you? Okay. Alright, so the zipper went on afterwards, and basically what we had to do was make sure that we extended our fabric, this piece right here, out past our zipper. The zipper is actually sewn even with the fabric. And the reason it's done that is so when you put it all together, and you'll see in the dress, when you put it all together, you shouldn't see the zipper at all. Alright, so when I zip this all the way up, and I'll show you on the video, on the footage that we're about to show, when you zip it all the way up, no zipper. Alright, and then we put a little latch at the top, and it's done. So there's the dress. The only problem she kind of had out of it was it falling a little bit up here, but we think that had a lot to do with the fact that we didn't have a true strapless bra, as well as I probably could have took it up a little bit more, and I'm going to do that the next time she wears it. But like I said, first time we had ever done it. For the first time, I think me and her did a pretty decent job. Hope you all like. And now we'll get into some of the footage showing how we made it. After we show that footage, then we'll show the pictures that we took for her Sweet 16 out at the gardens, and some of the pictures that were taken during the festivities. See you in a minute. You've seen all the pictures, you've seen all the video from us making the dress, the festivities and things like that. Now I'm going to sprinkle a little surprise on Jada. The next series that we will be doing is making a duct tape dress. Aren't you excited?
Should be interesting.
Okay, she's not as excited as I am. She wasn't as excited as I was about this until we got it done, and then she was grinning from ear to ear.
Exactly, because I to get more and more excited as it goes. But this is a little out there.
Okay, yes it is. Okay, so let me tell you how I came up with this. We are having a thing at our school. I work at a school, a middle school, and it's our ballroom dancing. The ballroom dancing, you wear ballroom dresses, and typically I wear ballroom dresses. She will be wearing this dress. We're going to get the use out of it. I will be wearing a duct tape dress, and the way the duct tape dress is going to work is I have to find a shell or just a plain dress that I want to kind of base the duct tape around. And then we come up with the design, which she'll help me with because she's the designer.
I already got one in my head.
Yay! But you know me, you know I'm not flashy, so...
Ooh, crap. We'll scratch that one.
Okay, so yeah, I'm glad I said that.
Actually would have looked cute, though, too.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that, but shh, can't talk about it now because they don't need to know what we're doing.
Okay.
Well, maybe, no. Okay, so that is our next thing that we're going to do. I kind of enjoyed doing this. I know this one was a little delayed, but I hope, I will be a lot better with doing the duct tape dress. I think it's going to be fun and cool and something else for you all to kind of help us with. Again, I do thank you for all the help, all the great comments that you gave about the dress and how pretty it was. I hope you all like this dress. And stay tuned for our duct tape dress. Did I explain everything about the duct tape dress?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, if I didn't, it's for the ballroom. It's a dress that I'll be wearing. She'll be wearing this dress. It'll be made pretty much completely out of duct tape. The only thing that won't be duct tape will be the part that's under. And that's what we're using to lay the duct tape, form it, do all that stuff. So she's coming up with the design. I'm going to see if I can make it work. Stay tuned.